Hey, it's Jara again. Welcome back to my channel. So, I finally finished this book. It took a little longer than it did the other two because I wasn't feeling good there for a little while. I talked about the other two. I think the second one is on this channel, but the first one was before I made this channel, so it's on my other book. My other YouTube channel called Harry Potter Girl. So if you want to check out this first book, my summary of the first book, then go on that channel. But this is Everfound, book 3 of the Skinjacker Trilogy, and it was really good. It was hard to keep down there when I was feeling fine. At the beginning of this, so at the end of the last book, if you read it, it kind of left off at a cliffhanger because Allie gets captured, and then you find out that Mikey restores Nick into a form of chocolate, because he kind of died.
A form of chocolate.
Yeah, he was turning into chocolate, and then he was in this vortex, so he kind of melted, and Mikey reformed him, but he was fully out of chocolate for now. But so Mikey's trying to help Nick remember as they're on a journey to save Allie from Mary's Skinjackers, mostly Milo's. Mary was dead again because she was put into the living world, but then she had Milo's kill her again, so she would wake up back in Everlost in 9 months. I can't stress enough how much I hate her. I mean, there's several times I just had to close my book just to breathe and relax because I wanted to strangle her. I hate her that much. I haven't hated a character this much that I've read about since Umbridge from Harry Potter. I really haven't hated a character this much since. But I can't stand her.
So do you hate Mary more or less than Umbridge?
I actually think I hate her more.
Oh,
and
wow.
the reason why is because she is manipulative and she can get people to follow her and believe that her cause is right. And what's worse is Umbridge, even though she pretended like what she was doing was right, she knew what she was doing wasn't. Mary, I think...
And she didn't care if people followed her or not.
True. Mary was getting people to follow her because she was insisting that what she was doing was right, and they believed her because she has this charisma about her, I guess you can say, that makes people want to follow her. And she eventually figures out her power and uses it for evil. In this book, actually, she figures out the power. She figures out this is why people always followed her, and so she purposely uses it after that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate you. Yeah, so I had to close the book several times just to fantasize killing her, because I did fantasize killing her. But she's technically dead because she is a ghost. She's technically dead, but I still wanted to kill her. So Mikey and Nick had to try and save Allie, and they ran into a Scar Wraith, which is someone who's half in the living world and half in Everlost. This happens if, like, let's say you were burned and like half of you is all crisp. That half it belongs in Everlost because it's technically dead.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and a Scar Wraith can extinguish a Everlost soul. So one touch from them, and they don't exist anymore. They're not. They're nothing. They become nothing. They're just gone.
Huh.
Yeah. So, Jix is a new character. We know he came. Okay. He came in this book, right? I think it was this book he came in. But anyways, you meet Jix. Yeah, it was this book. And he is a Skinjacker too, works for this guy whose spirit has been there for thousands of years and thinks of himself as a god. And he was supposed to go meet the Eastern Witch, is what people started calling Mary, see if she was friend or foe. And so he hung around his Skinjackers pretending to be alone, pretending not to work for anyone, just a loner. And he and Jill have a fascination to actually ship them together. Not as much as Allie and Mikey, but still. He started talking to Allie who was bound to the front of the train. And when Allie found out about Mary was in a sarcophagus because she died again, she started freaking out, and Jake started thinking, is Mary really the good person Milo's saying she is, or is Allie right and she's this evil thing that should not come back to Everlost? Because Allie was like, she cannot be alive again, or dead again, she just can't be dead again. And, Jake eventually frees Allie after a big train crash, and, and then him and Jill run off away from Milo's and Moose and Squirrel. And yes, that's their names, don't ask. But eventually, Allie sees Mikey and Nick again. I was a little disappointed. I mean, I love the reunion between Allie and Mikey, but I was a little disappointed in the reunion between Allie and Nick, because I think Nick was finally starting to feel like himself again. And he was becoming less chocolatey, and he was remembering more. Well, Milos did see Nick when Mikey was captured, so he was manipulating Nick into thinking that he was working for Milos, that they were old friends, and he just didn't remember. But Nick eventually figured out he was wrong, so went to help Allie and Mikey again, because he started remembering on his own. But I hate Milos, not as much as Mary, but I still hate him. But what? Oh. So I was a little disappointed in the reunion between Allie and Nick, because at the end of the second book, when Allie and Nick were close to each other, and it's like they could feel each other's presence, because they were bound. They woke up in Everlost together. They were in the same car accident. They didn't even know each other when they were alive, but they were in the same cars that hit each other. And Nick was thrown through the windshield and died immediately. Allie was a fighter, so she survived and was in a coma for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, she was a fighter. And so I was a little disappointed, because at the end of the second book, Nick found out that Allie was in this area, so he was searching for her because he knew that Allie would want to help him defeat Mary. And Allie found out that Nick was there by accident, by Milos actually. I think. No, it was Moose Squirrel. But and so they were looking for each other. And then by the time Allie found Nick, he was already that puddle of chocolate, and Mikey kind of resurrected him, you can say, after.
That puddle of chocolate, that just kills me.
Well, in Everlost, things are like, if it's all about what you remember. If you remember something strong enough, that's what you become, and what you focus on, I guess you can say.
So he focused on chocolate and became chocolate?
No, he had. Okay. In Everlost, a lot of times, unless you're a Skinjacker, you forget your name and who you were and everything.
Oh. And
you have to come up with a new name. Like there's this kid who must have died swimming, drowned or something, because he's in a bathing suit and he's always soaking wet, always. And I can't remember what they called him now, man. But anyways, Nick was eating chocolate when he died, and he had so much chocolate on his face. And after a while, that's one thing everyone noticed about him. That's one thing he noticed about himself. So sooner or later, he became chocolate.
Wow.
Yeah, Skinjackers aren't like that because they have a connection to the living world. That's why they can skinjack, because every Skinjacker's in a coma. That's why they can skinjack. They have that connection to the living world that most ghosts do not. But okay, where were we before we started talking about Nick's chocolate?
You said he was not becoming chocolate anymore.
Yeah. Everything he remembered, he started becoming his old self. And
how did he start remembering?
Mommy,
go. We're doing a video. Just go. Okay, don't force them to just shut up. Okay, what was I talking about? He started remembering because Mikey actually told him things that started helping him remember. And but when Mikey couldn't get out of this cage the Scarway had put him in, Nick was the only one that could get through because he was only chocolate, so he was able to just slide through the bars. and so Mikey told him to remember Allie and Mikey. If he remembered those, he would start to form into a person. And so as he was going to try and free Allie, he just kept repeating Allie, Mikey, Allie, Mikey. But then all of a sudden, Mary Hightower came to him. He's like, Mikey never mentioned her. How did I think of her? He thought of that on his own because in book 1, he actually loved Mary, and Mary loved him. And he never stopped loving her, just like she never stopped loving him.
Mommy, my thoughts. My thoughts.
We'll deal with it later, go. Lost my train of thought again. But yeah, that's how he started remembering. And then when he was with Milos, and he started realizing what they were doing was wrong, and Milos tried to convince him that she loved Jill, and all he wanted to do was, when they found Jill, hug her and just the two of them sink to the center of the earth, which was all a lie. He didn't even know Jill, but he started actually remembering a lot on his own. But yeah, eventually, Jill and Jake started working with Allie, Mikey, and Nick, and they all split up. Allie and the Scar Wraith left to. Jill was pretending to work with Mary because Mary thought she had sent Jix to the bottom of the earth, and that made Jill mad, but she had to pretend to be with her so she can figure out the real names of the Skinjackers. So Allie could find their bodies and take them out, so Mary was powerless. That was really hard on Allie, and she was like, "What if I do this? Then how am I better than Mary? You know, because Allie's a good person."
Yeah.
It was a little bit easy. It was hard to kill Milos and Moose because at this point, the Scar Wraith had already extinguished Squirrel by accident. He didn't know his own power at that point, but she knew them and she knew what they were capable of. She knew how evil they were and these things they've done, especially Milos. So it was a little bit easier, but she was afraid of what choice she had to make when Jill would have to give her the names of complete strangers. She doesn't know these other people. She's like, can I really just kill these other people I don't even know? Like, it was really bothering her. Obviously, she's a good person, you know, unlike Mary. But Mary found out what she was doing when 2 of her skinjackers lost their skinjacking ability. And so she sent someone to kill Allie's body. Allie was already visiting her own body to see herself for the first time in a coma, and so she was able to stop them. Mary found out about Jill's treason and forced her to skinjack into a pig long enough, because if you're into one thing if you're skinjacking someone and you're in them too long, then you can't get out. Allie actually had that trouble in book 2.
You become that person, kind of? Almost?
Kind of. You're stuck in them, and you can hear their thoughts, and they can hear yours, and it's like
It's like 2 people living in the same body.
Yes, exactly. And Allie actually had that problem, and the only way to get out at that point is if they die, and then you're extinguished from their body.
Oh, wow.
Allie actually had that problem. When she reunited with Milos in book 2, she had gone to a boy's body for too long by accident, and so he was going to help her, but she didn't know that his plan was to kill that little boy. He had to be a 6-year-old boy.
Oh,
Milos
wow.
is cruel. And then Allie saw, and then he actually did die for a minute, the little boy, but then he was about to fall asleep, and Allie knew that the moment he fell asleep, then he would go into that hibernation, because you're in a hibernation for like 9 months after you die, and then he would be dead. So what she did was she threw him into his own body, and he was able to live again. So Allie ended up saving him, because it's Allie. So I was a little disappointed in Allie and Nick's reunion because they waited so long to be reunited. I think it should have been a little bit better, but they did have their moment at the end of the book. But the Scar Wraith ended up because Mary went to where they made the first atomic bomb and was gonna kill the living world, blow it all up, so she can be queen of Everlost, of the world, really. Yeah, I hate her. I can't stand her. So Allie and Scarwaith went there, and Allie was trying to put her into the living center of the earth, because I told you about the whole dead spot thing, right? Well, if you stand on living ground too long, you sink until you're into the center of the earth. And Mikey was the only person that's ever able to get out. And Allie's plan was to get her to sink to the center of the earth, but she knew that the only way to be able to keep Mary down long enough was that if she sunk too. So she was willing to sacrifice herself. But Mary, she was actually able to overpower Mary until someone knocked out the Scar Wraith. Because none of the kids wanted to help Mary because they were afraid that the Scar Wraith would touch them and they would be extinguished. But when someone knocked him out, they weren't afraid to go attack Allie and help Mary. But then finally, Nick, Mikey, Jill, no, Jix, because Jill wasn't there yet, finally came to the rescue with a bunch of afterlights who were ready to fight the war. And so they were able to defeat them, the kids at least. The Scar Wraith actually ended up, I don't remember exactly how he did it, but he made it so this huge light appeared, a tunnel for all the kids ready. And he ended up going back to normal, lost his ever-lost connection. But so Mary wasn't ready to go, so she handcuffed herself to something so she wouldn't be taken. And then all the kids ended up going. They started remembering who they were in their past life when they were alive, and I cried when Allie had to say goodbye to Mikey because he was ready to move on. Nick, even though he is dead, he wasn't ready to move on. He still had work to do, so the light wouldn't take him yet. But I cried so much when Allie had to say goodbye to Mikey. But then Nick and Mary finally confronted each other for the first time in a while, and they both still love each other because it was messed up because Scar Wraith ended up extinguishing Milos after he lost his skinjacking ability because of Mary. Mary convinced him that was the right thing to do because it was for the better of the world, and she convinced Milos that she loved him for so long, and it was all a lie because she never loved Milos. She never did. But I do believe she loved Nick. That's why it broke her heart when she thought he betrayed her, even though she's the one that betrayed him. So, they kissed, and then she went into a sarcophagus, I think it was, like a little coffin, and that was sinking to the living world, and she sunk with it. And she did that on her own free will, and that was a little surprising, to be honest. But Allie and Allie and Nick finally had a sweet moment where they talked about their journey together, how they came here together, and they said goodbye because Allie was ready to go back to the living, and Nick had work to do in Everlost. He realized he had to become the new Mary, but in a good way. He at the end of the book showed him going around Everlost, finding people who just arrived and helping them
figure out their path.
Yeah, until they were ready to move on. He tells them to keep their coin, and whenever they're ready to move on, and because he wants them to move on when they're ready,
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because Nick's a good person, and I love Nick, and I love Allie. I love Mikey too. But Jix was able to find Jill and free her from the pig. They taught all these new skinjackers their abilities until they were able to go back to living, if they ever did, if they ever woke up from the comas they were in. And Allie finally skinjacked herself, and her mom was so thrilled, Her sister was away at college and her dad was outside at the moment, so her mom was the only one there. But she was surprised because at that point she wasn't sure if Allie was ever going to wake up, but she was thrilled because she did. And so it ended on a happy note. Mary was defeated, Allie was back into the living, even though she had to say goodbye to Mikey. She had to say goodbye to Nick too. And Nick was found his path helping Everlost, helping all the people in it, so it never gets ruled by someone like Mary again. You know, and Mikey was finally able to move on into a better place because of all the crap he's been through. And it was really sweet, really sad. I cried, but it was an amazing story, and I highly recommend it to any of you if you guys haven't read it, or if you have read it, then go reread it because it was amazing.
What's the first book called?
Everlost.
Everlost?
That's the place they're in. Second book's called Everwild, and the third book's called Everfound.
Okay.
It's by, who's by Neil, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Schusterman? Yeah, I'm gonna say Schusterman. Neil Schusterman. And it's called the Skinjacker Trilogy. It's really good, and I highly, highly recommend it. It will thrill you and excite you, and it will make you cry, it will make you scream. It has all the amazing qualities a book needs to be really amazing. So please read it if you have not. And yeah, that's all for this video. I will see you next time. I hope you enjoyed.